I get a lot of questions and I make a lot of videos, a little short videos on procedures to increase talking and decrease tantrums. So today I am sharing a small clip from a podcast I recently did on the 6 procedures you can use to do both increase talking, decrease tantrums with any child, regardless of age or ability level, whether they have a diagnosis or not. These techniques will work. So let's get to it. Hi, I'm Dr. Mary Barbera, autism mom, behavior analyst, and best-selling author. Each week I provide you with a video or 2 or more to help you turn things around. So if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, you can do that now. So today we're sharing a small excerpt from podcast number 194 on the 6 procedures you can use to help increase talking, decrease tantrums. Let's get to that clip. So you want to take this information and you want to apply it, but if you have professionals in your life that can help you apply it, they will help you apply it better because they know your family, as long as they know the approach, which is hard to find actually. So, but everything I produce, my books, my podcasts, even my paid online courses, all of the information is for informational purposes only. Okay, so we want to, tip number 1, or what we're going to do to get these procedures out there, is we are going to spend 95% of our time preventing problem behaviors. And we are going to do that with a technique that I learned from Glenn Latham many years ago. Actually, it was the year 2000, so it's over 20 years ago. I saw Glenn Latham present at a conference for 1 hour, and it completely changed my life. And Glenn Latham had a PhD in special education, and he would do independent evaluations on tough cases that nobody else could deal with. And I remember him telling the story. He wrote 2 books. We can link them in the show notes. One is called Positive Parenting. It's a 1997 book, I believe. I still recommend it as the best parenting book. And he also wrote another book called Behind the Schoolhouse Door, 8 Skills Every Teacher Needs. I purchased that years ago. It's now available for free download. It's going to be in the show notes as well. 2 great books among other books. But when I saw Glenn Latham present at this conference in New York, he said that whenever he would go in for an evaluation of any child, they would tell him, before you'd even see the child, say the child's name was Nick, they'd be like, oh my God, you have never seen a child like Nick. He is out of control. He's swinging from the chandeliers. He's ridiculous. This is, he doesn't belong here. He needs to go somewhere else. And so Glenn Latham would take all this in, but he had been to many places where the same descriptions were made. And once he would see Nick interacting with the staff, it was always the same situation. There was a lot more negative interactions than positive. Instead of there being what he recommends, 8 positives to every negative, it was actually the inverse. And it was sometimes worse than that. Actually, Glenn Latham did do some studies to show that kids in special education receive something like 30 or 50 negatives for every positive, or at least they did back in the 80s when he was doing his research. So what he would find is well-meaning adults were saying, stop that, Nick, and don't do that. And if I have to tell you one more time, you're going to lose recess, and all of these negative. Even when I go into little preschool classrooms and the aides have a smile on their face and they're like, Johnny, sit crisscross applesauce. Don't roll on the floor. You need to sit up. Remember, we have to do this, or this is not going to happen. You're not going to go to recess, or we can't do this, or stop that. You need to share, or I'm putting the the toy away, or you need to keep your hands to yourself. And like all of those negative reactions or even directions, nagging, keeping the demand on, those are all negatives, and we do not want to do that. Instead, we want to be positive. We want to give 8 positives to every negative. That is your number one technique. This is not just for kids, and it's not just for kids with autism. This is everywhere you go. In your workplace, if you're a teacher and you're interacting with the principal and the administration and the paraprofessionals in the classroom and the teacher, the other teachers, the general education teachers, the parents, we want to be positive. I say you want to be the spoiling grandma, at least while everything is going well. And if you can't think of something positive to say, even I like your shirt, or isn't it a nice sunny day out there? Or, oh, wow, something smells good. Maybe somebody's baking cookies. Start giving positive comments wherever you are. If you're at the store, give positive comments to the clerk. If you're, working, like I said, if you're interacting with your spouse, if your spouse comes in the door and all of a sudden you're complaining, you're nagging, you're saying you didn't do this or you didn't do that, or you left a mess for me this morning, those are all negatives. And it can really wear down any kind of interaction. But especially if you have a child with autism or a toddler showing signs of autism, we want to be extra positive and give those 8 positives to every negative. Okay, procedure number 2 is we want to use the 1 word times 3 strategy throughout the day with kids with autism or with any child or even an adult with little to no verbal communication. So instead of saying, would you like some ice cold water, or say, I want water, please, we want to say, water, water, water. As we take the bottle of water, which they have to want. I mean, if they're crying that they want lemonade and you're doing the water, that's not the point. It's something that they want, something that's fun or appealing or reinforcing. You want to, as you have the bottle of water or the cup of water, you want to say water and then move the item closer if possible, water, move the bottle closer, water, and then deliver. We're not holding out. We're not saying, say water. You have to say water. You just said water an hour ago. You said water yesterday. You need to say water. That's a demand that you can't prompt. You can't make anybody say anything ever. So instead, you can just use the 1 word times 3 strategy. Do the same thing for non-item things like opening the door. They want to go out to the swing. Open, 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 and then you open the door. Now, if they do say the word or a word approximation on the first try, and I say water, they say water or wawa, give them the water right away. We want to be shaping behavior, positive behavior. We also, a part of my Turn Autism Around approach is using easy early learner materials like a shoebox with a slit into it. I did a whole video blog about how to pick the cards that go in the shoebox. We can link that in the show notes as well. But we use for shoebox, for Mr. Potato Head, for the inset puzzle, we use the same procedure. I hope you enjoyed that short excerpt from podcast 194. If you did, check the description below for the details of how you can listen or watch the whole thing. And for more information about joining our online course and community, you can go to marybarbera.com/workshop, take a free workshop, see if it's a right fit, and I'll see you in the community. Have a good one. See you next time.